Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you get notified whenever I post a new video. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this ruched skirt. So if this is something you want to know how to make, kindly keep watching and let's get into the video. I already put up a video on how to cut this cowl neck top, so if you want to see how I made that, please watch the previous video before you watch this one. So this is the fabric we'll be working with. This is like a crepe fabric with this Adire design. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into 4 equal parts, making use of our tape, our scissors, our chalk, as you can see. So the first thing to do is to measure your hip measurement, which is the largest part of the skirt, and then fold your fabric and add extra 5 inches to the fold. You can add more than that depending on how wide you want the lower part of the skirt to be. First things first, you want to measure the length of your skirt. So we are going to mark from the waistline to the tip of the skirt, and whatever you have, you are going to go ahead and mark it. So that's what I just did. I used my tape to measure the length and I marked it. Remember, we folded the fabric into 4, so we're going to be taking the measurements from the side which is folded. Make sure one part is completely folded because we're not going to be putting any zipper allowance at the back. We're cutting both the back and front together, and the zipper is going to be placed by the side. From the folded area, you want to place your tape and mark your waist inches. That's the length of your waist divided by 4. Mark that, and then to get the hip point, we are going to place our tape on the waistline and come down by 7 inches. So we are going to be making use of like a waistband of 2 inches. So you can subtract down whatever you have left with each 5 inches. Place it and mark your hip line. After marking the hip line, the next thing to do is to insert your hip measurement on the hip line. So you're going to divide whatever your hips is by 4 and then put your measurements. Please don't forget to put your sewing allowance while you are doing this. So I made use of 2 inches extra for the sewing allowance. I did that on the waistline as well, so I'm just replacing the sewing allowance on the hip line. I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect from the hip line to the waistline, so it gives me this hip curve. So because we are not making a pencil skirt, I'm going to be covering it out from the hip point outwards. So on the lower part, I extended whatever I got for my hip and I added extra 5 inches to that. So we're going to draw a slant line connecting from the end part of the skirt to the hip line. So that's basically all for drafting the skirt pattern. The other parts of the skirts are going to be done, but this is the main part and we're done. So you're going to go ahead and cut it out. As you can see, it's giving us this A-line shape. This is what you want to have to give you that effect. If you make it pencil, it's not going to be so open at the lower end, except you want to create a slit. But this is what it looks like. So let's go ahead to cut it out. The next thing on our agenda is to cut out the waistband, and to do that we'll be adding extra inches to the waist for zipper allowance by the side. So whatever you have as your waist divided by 2, you're going to add an extra 2 inches by the side. So if you have 20 as half of your waist length, you are going to divide it by 2 and add extra 2 inches. So on fold, you'll be cutting 22 inches. Total waistline is 38 inches. So divided by 2, we have about 19. Plus 2 inches is 21. So we'll mark that. And then the length we are going to be using for this is 5 inches. 5 inches in the sense that we are going to be making use of half inch on both sides of the band for sewing allowance, and the remaining 4 inches to go twice, 2 inches on both sides. So at the end of the day, we have 2 inches wide belt, 2 inches wide waistband. Yes, so that's basically, go ahead and mark it out and cut out the waistband. After doing this, you want to use a paper stay to iron the waistband to keep it firm. So go ahead, do that, give it a good press, and we're good to go. Next, we are going to cut out the loop that's going to be like the casing for the rope. So for that, I'll be making use of length of 12 inches. You can make use of 15 inches depending on how long you want it to be. And then the wideness should be about 2.5 inches. So just make sure that at the end of the day, you have enough to fold. If 2.5 is going to be small, you can mark 3 inches. But I made use of 2.5 for mine. Mark your straight line, that's the length, which is about 12 inches for mine. So remember, we're taking out about 1 inch for stitching allowance. So at the end of the day, we have only 11. So just make sure you have enough fabric that you want to make use of. So go ahead and mark the 2.5 inches on the side, draw your lines and cut it out. The next thing to do is to cut out the fabric you're going to use to make the ropes. So you can make use of 1.5 inch wideness of fabric, or 1 inch, all depends on what you want, on how wide you want the rope to look at the end of the day. And for the length of the rope, you can make use of 40 inches, 30 inches, 25 inches, depending on just what you want. So for mine, I made use of about 30-35 inches, and I cut out 2 pieces of the long rope. And that's what I'm going to use to pass through the loop and tie at the end of the day. So yeah, once you are done cutting, the next thing is to fold your ropes into loops. So you're going to fold it and sew on one end. You're going to sew about half an inch on the other end, and then use something to pass it through to give you your ropes. To attach the loop, we're going to be working with the front piece. So just pick up one part of the skirt and then give it a notch on the midpoint. After giving it a notch on the midpoint, you are going to mark from that midpoint. You are going to divide your nipple to nipple into 2. So for instance, if you have 8 inches, from that midpoint you are going to go 4 inches to whichever side you want the ruche to start. So if it's by the left side, you are going 4 inches to the left side, and if it's by the right side, you are going 4 inches on that side. So mine is going to the left side, so I'm going to place my tape on that midpoint and mark 4 inches. For this the person's bust is 9 inches, so bust span is divided by 2 is 4.5. So go ahead and mark 4.5 inches. Going downwards as well, I'm going to mark to the length where I sewed, which is 12 inches. That is the length of the fabric I cut out. So I'm going to draw a straight line from that point going up to the point where I marked 4.5 inches, and I'll draw a straight line. After giving it a notch, go ahead, place the fabric we cut out initially, and if for this you want to make use of your pins, whatever you have to hold it down, so to avoid it from shifting. After folding on both sides, you would like to give it a good press as well, so that the fabric stays in one place while you are sewing, because this fabric tends to shift a lot while sewing. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead, iron it and sew on the edges. After sewing on the edges, I'm going to sew on this midpoint here where I'm drawing a straight line, so that it shares it into 2 equal parts. After sewing it down and giving it a good press, and also ironing your ropes as well, The next thing to do is to pass the rope through the loops. So that's what I'm going to be doing. We'll sew it down and then pass the rope through the loops. So guys, this is what it looks like after passing the rope through the loops. And yes, this is basically it. You can see it's coming together already. By the time we pull this up, it's going to give it that gathered effect on the upper part. So yeah, that's basically it. The next step is to join both the back and the front pieces together. So we're going to tack the upper parts down, and then we're going to join the front and the back pieces together, leaving out a space for the zipper by the side. We're done sewing the sides of the skirt together, and on the other side, which is the right side, we left about 5 inches from the waistline. That's where we're going to be fixing our zipper. So the next thing on our agenda is to fix the waistband. As you can see, I've gone ahead to iron my paper stay, and I'll just be stitching around. You can give it a good finish by sewing on both sides, but for this I'm just going to be stitching once. I'm going to place it on one end of the open part, and I'll come out by about 1 inch or half an inch, and then sew around to the other side as well. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to fix my zipper on this part, and we're almost done. So we're done fixing the waistband, we're done fixing the zipper, and this is our iron skirt. This is what it looks like. This is where I fixed my zipper, and yeah, that's basically, there's no zipper at the back. I went ahead to hem the lower part of the skirt as well, and yeah, as simple as ABC, we are done with our tutorial. So guys, that's all. If you want the skirt to be pencil, you can cut it out as a pencil skirt, but I wanted mine to be like an A-line skirt, like to give it this A-line effect, so that's why I went with this. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share to whoever you think might find it helpful as well, and subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.